Hello everybody, just on the camera. Right, okay, so obviously up to this point you've seen a lot of fast forwarded footage of me preparing what looks like a snake. And just so you know, it is still part of the videos for this, but obviously the last bit where I spoke and mentioned that for me to seal that I need to mix resin, and if I only do that I'm wasting a lot of resin, so I needed to get that done first and also get these cleaned up and treated. I'm going to try a couple of things with these, but we'll get on to that. It depends on how much resin I've got left over. Okay, so my objective right now is to mix up some clear resin, 20ml of resin, 20ml of hardener, because I know that's enough for the chemical reaction to work. Then I'm literally just gonna, with a small brush, I'm going to try and sort of lightly coat these, seal these where the resin, coloured resin is going to go. Any resin that I've then got left over, I'm going to try a couple of things with these. It all depends on how much resin I've got, but I kind of want to try some of my blue pigment because I want to see what it will look like. Because if I can show it on the camera, if it can show you in there, it's all glistening and shiny, and I'm interested to see what it will do or what it will look like when it's mixed into the resin, because that is what I'm going to use on this, and it should give different levels of colour blue, and hopefully once I've applied it I can actually run through it a bit, perhaps with a cocktail stick or one of my stakes, just to give it a bit of a direction of flow appearance, but we'll get on to that. Okay, so I'm going to crack on with this then, so I'm just going to move the camera down a bit so that you can't really see much. So I got myself some new measuring cups because the two that I'd got, fucking typical, it doesn't go up to 20. That's peen. Which marker on there is 20 then? That's 5, 10, 15. That's got to be 20. But that's a big gap between 20 and 21. Anyway, yeah, so I hadn't realised, but it doesn't actually indicate 20mm. It's got 15, 30, and even though there's a couple of lines, they're oddly spaced. But anyway, I mean, at the end of the day, as long as I put the same amount of each, and it doesn't really matter. Okay, so I've got my epoxy resin. I'm going to need something to wipe them off with. Okay, so let's see, how much shall we put in? Let's go up to, we'll go up to the second line above. The 15. Resin was acting oddly then as it poured. Okay, so as long as I use the same amount, we'll be all right. Now I'm not going to put the colour in yet, obviously, because I need the clear to begin with. There we go. Right. Okay, so I would say that's more than 20mm in each, to be fair, from the looks of it, but I don't mind that too much. Okay, so now mix one into the other. Now it does recommend that you put them both into a third tub, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to need to make sure I give it a really good stir. I'm going to have to be careful of with it being in such a small pot. I don't want it to go splashing everywhere. Now it does say, if I remember rightly, stir it until you see no streaks or cloudiness, I think it was, or something like that. But anyway, I'll give it a stir, making sure we scrape up the sides to make sure we get it all mixed in. I would say, looking at it, I've got more than enough resin here to test something out on the with the colour, at least, hopefully. Okay. I'll stir it a little bit more. There's no harm in stirring it more. I mean, it's fucking aching. Now, as I've said before, with the tree, I mean, okay, well, this wood is a tree, but with the actual logs that I've used and the slices of logs, I don't know how much they're going to soak in colour. So I'm actually going to try and not seal I'm not going to seal one of them. I'm just going to go with some colour in it. And the other one, I was thinking of using a clear, the one that's broken into 4 pieces, because then it'll just be easier for me to use. Okay, I'm just going to get myself set up with a couple of pieces of supporting timber. So, okay, so like I said, with this, all I want to do is a very light sort of coating of where the coloured resin will end up going. Now, I don't mind coating the rest of the wood either, because it'll get a coating of resin anyway. I mean, to be honest, I might do that. I might just, well, the thing is, last time I tried to lightly coat a full face, it went horribly wrong. Okay, well, I believe that's pretty much the number 2 coated. It's kind of deceptive of how much resin actually gets onto the brush there, but you know, when I tried doing this previously as well, I think I tried doing it with a foam brush, if I remember rightly, on the other name plaques, and it didn't work at all. And then I ended up putting way too much resin on and I couldn't get it off. So yeah, it was all a bit of a mess. Hopefully, I mean, what I am going to do in a moment, where I have sort of gone all the way around the edge of this, I'm just going to get a bit of tissue and see if I can sort of wipe it up a bit, clean it up a little bit. Because, like I said, this is literally just to seal the wood so that when the colour goes on, it doesn't go soaking into the wood, making it streaky. Having said that, I mean, if I can actually get a very light coating, I'm going to do it. Because the problem is when there's so much resin that it runs. See, that's kind of, there's a little bit thick there, but it can spread, because I mean, literally only needs to be a very, very thin amount. Now you might wonder why I'm sort of holding the brush down at the end. It's just to keep it sort of a little compact. I mean, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know that I don't really like using brushes. Also, I'm not going to be coating the sides or back with the resin here. There's no need. I really have got a dead fucking arm. Ugh. Okay, so I am going to have to be careful of this, of if too much has gone on and it's going to start streaking. But having said that, it shouldn't be too much of a problem, because the plan is, in the end, once the colour's gone in there, to, as I've said before, border it off and then do a full pour over the whole top. So that's the plan. Right, so I can go to one side now to just dry up, but it's probably going to take, well, I'm going to leave it 24 hours, or around 24 hours at least. I'm not going to do anything else with it till tomorrow. Okay, now we're on to doing the knot snake. It really does look a bit like a snake. Now, interestingly, this is a lot harder to see where the resin has actually been applied. Now again, I'm going to try and coat all of this, because with the way that this has been made, the colour is probably going to have to come up quite high in the groove, so that it can blend in properly, which means if I don't seal all of the wood, I am going to end up with horrible streaks, and I don't want horrible streaks. I want a beautiful looking river. I doubt I'm going to get that, but that's what I want. Now with this, I wasn't intending on doing a full pour on the top of this, but if I do, I will have to fill this hole somehow. I mean, obviously I could do it with resin. I could just cut it out. I can't go waiting too long or taking too long doing this, because otherwise my resin is going to dry up. Just need to make sure that I've covered everywhere. Okay, so that is now this sealed as well. So this, hopefully, perhaps tomorrow, I can have a look at doing a full pour on it. We shall see. Okay, now for something new. Okay, so this is where I ain't got a fucking clue how this is going to go. And looking at the resin, do I go with colour just straight off the bat or not? Ew. Is there enough? Is there going to be enough in there? I don't think there's going to be enough in there to cover completely that. But then having said that, there could be. But you know what, I think I'm going to go with the colour. Because my intention with this was to have it set up with gaps between the wood, so it's basically split wood, which is what I've kind of got here. Okay, right, I'm going to go with the colour then. So I have no idea how much of this I'm going to need. I don't know how much is too much. I mean, there isn't really any instructions on it. Oh wow. Oh wow, the colour in there, it's almost like metal. That's beautiful. If you can't see it yet, I will show you in a sec. Oh wow. Yeah. Okay, this is definitely the stuff that I was wanting. Look at that. Look at that. Looking beautiful. Right, I'm going to need to keep mixing it in a bit though, because I think I may have put a bit too much in. Or do I go applying this with a syringe? Or do I just pour it? I think I should pour it. That's a beautiful colour. I like that a lot. Right, just in case we've got fucking loads left over, we have another one. Good luck. That's it, soaking. Well, I say soaking, dripping. It's almost like watching a blue alien. Interesting, I think I'm on a slope that way. Either that or this way has just had less resistance. Make sure it's not coming up. I love this colour. I've got a black as well, but I don't know whether it will kind of go streaky like this has or not. I'll find out at some point. Yeah, I think I'm definitely on a slope. Let's turn this around a little bit, see if I am on a slope, if it's going to start going in that way a bit more, which it is. Oh shit. Now I am thinking of trying to fully coat this side, kind of, but I more want to make sure that everywhere that needs to be filled is filled. Yeah, so like in the middle that's still going down at the moment. Now I don't believe I've got enough in there to complete the next one, but I may have enough in there to start the next one. It's floating. that they're floating, but I do want to keep it away from the edge a bit, but it seems to be coming under a lot of pressure. Oh, it's pushing it out. Okay, I think I may have gone a bit too far. I keep wrapping it on the fucking table as well. See if I can. I've got a feeling that once I get these pushed down a bit, they'll stick down. Like that. This may be too much on here now. So I am absolutely mesmerised with this colour. I do really like it. Now I am using this obviously as a test of the colour, but also of these coaster moulds. So one of the reasons why I'm wanting to fully cover these pieces of wood, is potentially so that I can sand it down and then try and polish it back up, because that's something I've not achieved yet and I really want to. I feel I need to in my learning of how all this works. Now I suppose it makes sense that the wood is floating up, but I must admit I hadn't even considered the fact of the wood floating up. Now if the wood soaks in the resin, then it will stop floating a bit, but also if the resin can just firm up a little to keep it down there, very handy. Got to be careful, it is so close to tipping over the edge. This one I probably should have applied it a little more cleverly, a little more properly. But also, thinking about it, what I probably should have done with this is part filled it like I've done with this and then topped it up, because then it'd be held in place. But I didn't think about that, and to part fill it means making another batch at some point. Okay, this is going to overflow. So as much as I love this colour, I don't think it's going to work on this because of the wood floating. and anything that I put on it to try and keep it down is not, it's going to end up sticking. Also, I'm risking getting air bubbles under all of this, so I think what I'm going to need to do is, I'm about to lose some, basically leave it, although if I can, right. Suck a little bit of it up. Pop it into the other one. It looks like it's right on the edge of overflowing. Well, it fucking is now. Yeah, you see this one is kind of slowly half filling, which is what I was going to do with one of them anyway, and then top it up with clear. Right, I don't think I need to take any more out of there. I would just like these to be positioned properly. Something I could have done, I could have tried gluing these to the mould. I think that's the way to do it, because once that's set and dried, it's not gonna, the wood's not gonna float then, is it? Well, I gotta say, I fucking love the colours. Yeah, bubble. And I am gonna need to obviously leave these. Yeah, I mean these two pieces of wood, they're not moving. They're sort of held in place. They're not floating. I'm not too worried about having the the colour on the top, because with them being a bit thicker than the mould, which I've mismeasured that with my width of cut. I measured the whole mould, not the inner part of the mould. Yeah, so that'd need sanding down anyway. But interesting, because I think that one's going to end up looking very nice. That one I think is going to end up looking shit. But we won't know until they're dry and I can take them out, because I've no idea what the underside of that is going to look like, or the underside of that. So, I mean, one of the things that I probably may do in future is do clear at the bottom to set them in, and also it gives it a bit of a seal then, and would be able to clearly show the wood underneath, which would eventually become the top, potentially. But then if you look at this, these are sticking up as well, so if this was actually then sanded down to flat, the blue wouldn't be there, it'd be wood that would be there. So it could work sanding from this side. It'll be interesting to see, but I've got to say the colour for what I want to do on here is absolutely spot on. it's absolutely lovely, and as I mentioned, should be able to sort of give it lines of flow, or the appearance of. Okay, right, that's me done for today. I kind of really want to do loads of other stuff, but I can't, because I need to just leave these to dry now, and actually I need to cover them up. Okay, and I've just realised as well that I did have something else I needed to seal, but it's alright, I can do that another day. So yes, I'm happy with that. Interesting, fucking love that colour. Absolutely love that colour. Right, see you in a bit.